I started this whole nomad capitalist stuff, not for financial reasons. I had a great desire to travel around the world, to be a perpetual traveler, to see other cultures, and to go where I was treated best, no doubt. The tax piece was always intriguing, but it came into focus as I started to travel more and more, and as I was making more and more money in business in the United States at the time. And I remember at one point I said, I should really figure out how to do this. I've heard about the foreign earned income exclusion. I don't really entirely know how I can use that. Let me just call an expert. And I believe I asked around. I had a business associate who had a pretty good attorney in our area, and I said, let me call that guy, and let me get a referral to someone who could potentially help me with this. What I learned first was just how difficult it is to find someone who really knows international stuff, and this is almost a decade ago now. And so it was even more difficult back then, before the proliferation of all kinds of nomad blogs and forums and people giving tax advice in Facebook groups to each other. So it was rather difficult. But I remember I finally got on the phone with a guy who I believe was a tax lawyer, and I told him the situation, and he made me an offer. He said, I believe it was $15,000 he wanted, and he was going to put together what's basically called a memo, and then walk me through that memo where, here's what you need to do, here's what you need to be aware of, I'll show you how to do it, but I'm going to do the formal tax advisor thing. I'm going to write everything up in kind of a blathering tone, and then I'm going to walk you through it so that you can know what to do, and so you can adjust your travels, and you can make sure that your business is set up accordingly to take advantage of these tax savings. And I remember at the time I was doing relatively well. I don't know, making several $100,000 a year perhaps. Was in earlier mid-20s, but I had never paid anybody that kind of money. And if you talk to people who worked with me back then, I was much more frugal than I am now. Got much more anxious over paying money. So I understand what that's like when people first get into this stuff. But I shouted at the guy. I told him, under no circumstances am I paying that money. He's like, well, okay. And what I've learned since then, what didn't really occur to me at the time, was after that, I got kind of upset. I feel defeated, but I also felt like at least I didn't give him the money. Like I won, I'm in control. I think I look back to my early days as an entrepreneur, and a lot of us become entrepreneurs because we want to, have a certain amount of control of our life. We have a little bit of an ego. We want to prove something to somebody. We want, we want to get the girl, whatever the case may be. And so I think that, back then as a new entrepreneur, my emotions around this weren't as well refined as they are now. I didn't have nearly the self-awareness that I had now, and so I felt like, okay, I won. Only to come to, within the next 3 months, I made another quarterly estimate payment to the IRS, and paid a lot more money to the IRS than I would have paid to just hire this guy. And so a little bit more time went by before I decided, you know what, I really got to get this sorted out. I got to get this part of my life figured out, because I'm going to spend my time outside of the United States, and I just don't want to be out of the United States but still paying full boat in taxes to the US. And that's really the formula that began my road as the Nomad Capitalist. I spent a couple more years running businesses that were based in the United States and doing traveling before leaving full-time and really diving in to the full tax benefits of being offshore, and then started to write about this stuff. But what I found is this side, there's the analytical side, here's what you need to do. But then there's also the other side of the brain, which is what does it take for you to do it? And I've learned some of that the hard way. And I've had the luxury to study over 100,000 applications that have come into us at Nomad Capitalist over the last couple of years of people who want help. And what I see is a lot of people, I see myself in some of these people. My team and I will go through applications that they go through every quarter. And we'll kind of see, what are people talking about? What do they want? What are they confused about? And what are some of the challenges that they're facing? How can we talk more about what people are facing? And what I see is young entrepreneurs who are like myself, who want to win. I'm not here to judge you for doing that. What I am here is to help you hopefully avoid that mistake, because I thought I beat the guy by not giving him the $15,000, but I ended up paying many, many times that amount by not hiring him and just getting the problem solved. I fell into the idea of not only options collecting, let me talk to this guy, let me talk to that guy, let me talk to this guy, let me talk to that guy, price shopping, but also there's something that happens when people shop and collect options, that they tend to slow down the pace. They tend to, in my experience, hit speed bumps where they get slowed down along the way. And you'll see people who will come to me and say, Andrew, I've been thinking about doing this for a year. A year ago, I hired this guy and he did this part, and I've been so frustrated that that part didn't finish the job that now I'm just not hiring anybody else. And so in the meantime, I've wasted $250,000. That was my story. And I'll tell you, speaking from personal experience and speaking from what I see, you're not winning if you do that. That's not a way to win. What I've really found now, continuing to grow and continuing to seek self-awareness in my business life, as I have for about the last 8 or 9 years now, is that successful people, the most successful people, the people that I've worked with who make $5, $10, $20 million a year, people who have $100 million plus net worths, they focus on win-win. They want you to win, and they want themselves to win. They don't want to dominate. They don't want win-lose. They don't want lose-lose, of course. But what happens is, in our effort to win sometimes, we end up both losing. And so I look back at the tax guy for $15,000, and I think about it from the perspective that I have now, and I say, you know what? He had $15,000. I didn't have the solution to the problem that he could have offered me. So who really lost? He won by not taking on someone who maybe wasn't ready to work with him. And I lost because rather than paying $15,000 and clearing my head with it, I went out and paid a lot more than that in tax by not solving the problem. Now, perhaps if I would have just hired him, I would have gone out and gone an entirely different route and started businesses somewhere else, and we never would have been here. But I feel compelled because all of my friends and all the people in my network who are tax attorneys, accountants, CPAs, the people who deal in the analytical side of things, none of them are talking about what I believe is the key element here, which is behavior, which is mindset. Okay, that's to me 80% of it. If you have the right mindset, if you have a win-win mindset, I'm going to find the person who is right for me, whomever that may be, whomever I connect with, who I believe this is the person to solve my problem. I'm going to go there and I'm going to engage in that process. Okay, that's what I failed to do with him 15 years ago. It's what I now do whenever I'm going to get a citizenship, whenever I'm going to get a new residence, whenever I'm going to the doctor. I commit to the person that I want to hire. I get right down to business. I'm not talking to 6 doctors. I'm finding the one that I like the best, and I'm going to that guy and I'm working with him. And so win-win, I think, is the important formula. So if you understand and you agree with my perspective that mindset and the right behavior are requisites to getting the problem solved, then do keep that in mind. I think a lot of analytical people ignore that to their detriment. I did. I'm glad I discovered this way. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist. I wrote this book, which you can find on Amazon, to distill a lot of the stuff we talk about in these videos and a lot of the stuff I've learned over the last decade plus traveling all around the world, teaching you about how to legally reduce your taxes, build your personal freedom, and create wealth faster. Definitely get a copy of this book if you want to learn more. Now, if you want to watch more videos, make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the notifications bell so you never miss one of our new videos with more tips on how to go where you're treated best. And if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you'd like to put these strategies in place for yourself, go to nomadcapitalist.com and learn about how I can help you.